Hello, everyone. It's Shady,
Hey guys, Giacomo.
I am Luke.
and
Daniel.
today we're happy to welcome a guest, a very important guest for us, Daniel Karamaneas, president of Milan Club Sydney. Want to welcome him to our podcast or Rossoneri Roundup video for today. Hi, Daniel. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you guys?
Yeah, all good. Everything all right over in Sydney?
Yep, it's wonderful, mate. The sun's out and it's looking really nice outside, so it's very good.
That's good to hear. And you're not in lockdown like us, so yeah, always a good sign. Hopefully it stays that way.
No.
Yeah. Right, Daniel. So where do we start? Let me ask you about. Obviously, I mean, the obvious question would be to ask you about how you got into supporting Milan. Tell us more about that. Why the Rossoneri?
Yeah, why the Rossoneri? So the Rossoneri, why? Well, basically it happened probably in the 1990, after the 1990 World Cup. I started following probably football. I was probably around 12 or probably a bit younger. Started probably getting into it a lot more. Back then we didn't have Facebook, Twitter and all of that. Yeah. So following football was my nonno's Italian newspaper every Wednesday and basically watching a Sunday roundup of all the football because even getting it live was quite difficult here. And then we moved into listening to it on the radio. Okay. So why AC Milan? I started following this young left back called Paolo Maldini because I'm a left back as well. And from there I just started following his game and then I've just started falling in love with the club from there and ever since been an absolute nut about AC Milan and everything AC Milan. And it's an amazing club, love it to death. And so that's basically how it all started.
Amazing. So
cool.
Maldini families, I think because it's helped convert millions to Milan fans all over the world, huh?
Definitely. And so that's pretty much how I started. And following it in the 90s was fun. Obviously, through good times and then obviously bad times as well. But you just love your club.
Definitely more good times back then, yeah?
And I personally think it's probably one of our better eras. I'm sure they'll all come back soon.
Well, the two of you, I was going to just say the two of you, Shady and Daniel, were pretty lucky to grow up with that 90s and 2000s Milan, whereas I don't think Giacomo and me have seen too much of
that. You guys missed out on some good times, yeah.
We did.
Just watch your highlight reels; it's really good.
We have to watch all the replays.
That's right.
Give us a bit of a rundown of the Milan Club Sydney, Daniel. Sort of the history, how it started, and sort of what sort of things you do today.
So the club actually started in the early 50s by a gentleman called Vincenzo Colacoccio. He started the club, but it was more just, I think, a very local kind of thing. And then in around 2009, I had the idea of kind of creating a club here, seeing all these little clubs around Italy, and thought, well, it would be great to have one here in Sydney to start with. So then what we did was we created the club in Sydney and we had our president and myself, who was Antonio Yenko, start the club. We also had assistance from they're no longer operating, but the Milan Soccer School with former player Andrea Icardi as well, who helped us quite a bit. But then obviously we just took it on our own to kind of develop the club further. But I think the main vision, the main kind of ideology for the club was to have a central space for people here in Sydney to talk about Milan, watch it live and grow together. That was the main ambition for the club, which we didn't have that at that point. Everyone was kind of just talking about it on Facebook and that was pretty much it. So I thought it would be good to have live events together and then obviously the next goal was to start growing it around Australia, which is obviously what you guys have done a fantastic job down in Melbourne, to see that club flourish the way it has in the last years. The passion is to kind of have that home away from home for AC Milan in a way locally, because not all of us can get to the Sunset or just hop on a plane and go and watch a game. So it's nice just to be together. That was the main ambition for the club.
Cool. Yeah, no, it sounds similar to what we're sort of striving to down this way. How many members and have you got, and have you been doing any events recently with all the Corona stuff? And
Well, with the events, as you know, games at 3:00 in the morning are generally quite difficult to do events. But and obviously with COVID, but in the past years we've done some great events with live games. We've even had a live couple of fan games against other City A clubs here in Sydney at Marconi Stadium, which is one of our local football clubs. So we've done that a couple of years in the running. Probably the most amazing event we had, which was the Daniele Massaro dinner, which was last year. It seems like a long time away, and that was something absolutely special, and it was so good that obviously you guys got to share in it as well. Down in Melbourne, we had kind of a Daniele tour, which was really, really good. So yeah, and that was the idea is that, and I'm getting acknowledgement from the club that we have a voice here, even though we're 20 so hours away. We still have a collective group of fans and a voice here in Australia.
Absolutely. And I think that the Milan kind of community has always been there in Australia, as you kind of spoke about in the 50s, it was alive. But it wasn't very similar to you guys in Sydney. There wasn't anything really physical to go to, and for us all to come together. So the Milan club idea, and obviously you guys in Sydney, and you guys were kind of the pioneers of that stuff, and it's made its way to Melbourne now. But it's definitely a good thing for us all, and I think it's only growing from here. I mean, we're already where our two clubs are kind of interacting a lot and helping each other out where we can. So hopefully strength to strength.
Definitely.
That's right. And I think the key thing here, is to have that legacy. Like, I'm not going to be around forever. And I've got a little boy, he's 3. I'd love him to follow AC Milan as well. And I'd love him to also, kind of take that on and kind of run the club or help run it or look after it or be involved in it. And I think that's one thing that I think a lot of people in the past have tried to do, but not really done it very well. But hopefully this is a start. And nationally, we can even create some more clubs as well and try and make a bigger voice, because we are in a way kind of distanced from the actual club itself. So, and only in the last couple of years, they've actually spoken to us directly, and which has been really good now because we have that contact with the club. So that's kind of the thing. The key thing here is to leave a legacy for AC Milan here in Australia, and one day even hopefully have the team down here to play like they did in the 90s, which would be absolutely fantastic to see again.
It would be great.
Definitely would. As you said, the club is starting to kind of interact a lot more with the international fans, I guess, which was a point that was kind of lacking for a little bit. But do you think that the club's growing in other areas? And just as more kind of a general question, how do you see the club and its position at the moment?
Well, in the moment, it's kind of hard to say because we're not allowed to be together. And obviously, that's kind of been a critical thing. Funnily enough, it's when we couldn't be together is when actually Milan, the performances started to become a little bit more palatable in terms of being together and watching them. Not that they weren't before, but I think a lot of people can agree that in the last couple of months, it's been actually quite a good spell for us. So, and it's important to have the international connection. So, for instance, we talk with a lot of other clubs. In particular, the Philadelphia club is an architect like me as well. So he's a president there in Philadelphia. Even speaking to where my mother is from in Italy, in Alano, Abruzzo, they got a little club there that we kind of speak to as well. And obviously dealing with, some reporters out in Italy as well, in Milan, who do these great little journals and books about all the clubs around the world. So that is important. And I think along with kind of Melbourne, that we continue to do that. And then one day, the bigger goal is to have Milan play in our own backyard, even if it is a friendly or whatever it is. It'll be nice to have that kind of interaction with the club. And I think by growing up, by kind of continuing that connection will help us grow and will help our clubs grow individually. And obviously social media is the biggest thing And that's one thing that obviously you couldn't do in the 90s very well, have that kind of connection, unless you had a physical club. And I think if we keep going in that direction, our clubs will grow, and we'll hopefully get a couple of other clubs around Australia and keep that going as well. It's all about momentum at the end of the day. So that's what our goal is right now.
Definitely. Hopefully we can all prosper together going forward. Daniel,
of course.
Maybe building on what Luke was saying, how do you see the next season playing out? What's like your overview for the club on the pitch?
Look,
what are you seeing?
Yeah, on the pitch. On the pitch, the thing I'm mostly excited about, and something I haven't seen since probably 2004, is stability. It looks like we've got a stable kind of squad. We've got a stable kind of coach, and having a couple of mentors in there, with potentially another one coming back. In the news today, I think I read that there was potential for some other players to come back, especially. So what I was trying to get at is, so having that kind of stability with these mentors in the club, like Maldini and Ibrahimovic and etc. The idea is that, we'll grow together, and obviously the squad can start to actually gel a lot better. And we saw that after COVID. I don't know what happened after COVID. I said we won the COVID Scudetto because we did.
It was,
they should make a trophy for that. But no, it's been really good. I'm quite happy I'm always happy being a Milan fan, but it's really good to see that there is some kind of prosper things happening for our next season, and hopefully it keeps going from there, and we can get into that top four.
Definitely exciting.
It was definitely a big improvement. Like you said, we won the COVID Scudetto, but it looks like we're going to be given a little bit of budget and room to play with. Where would you like to see the club improve in terms of depth or positions or anything like that?
I actually think our wing-back positions could do with some depth. I think that's key. I think we've started to now find that playmaker role, I think, quite well. The ball is moving a lot nicer in the midfield. Before it would go to the midfield and then would almost be kind of lost and need a GPS to find our way to goal. But that's kind of now, I think, developed very well. Again, I'm not a football professional. I look and enjoy the game, but that's where I see we lack a lot in our wing backs to kind of get that game. And it's always been the Milan game, using the wings to kind of grow our position on the field. So that's what I see as something we could improve on. Our defence is definitely something, and kind of that's where I think anyway. But again, it's an opinion rather than a professional input.
Yeah, hard to argue that. I have to agree with you there, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And we've kind of seen the speculation growing by the day about a possible Bakayoko return. Or even, I've been seeing a bit about a Thiago Silva return. Would you welcome those two back, or one or the other, not the other, or what do you think?
Well, look, I've been critical of a couple of players, and again, after COVID, some of them have really come around, like especially Kesse, who one of the most frustrating players on the field that I follow. In terms of before COVID, I called him the bricklayer's touch. And then all of a sudden he scored that amazing goal against Juventus. And then from there, he's just started to grow even more. So, I don't always like to judge something until you kind of give it an opportunity. And he was given a lot of opportunities, but recently his form's been amazing. So, and those players were, and Thiago Silva was quite a critical part of our squad back in the day. So, and having mentors coming back like Ibrahimovic and etc. Has helped the club. So maybe that was the missing formula in the mix all along. Having some kind of stability and these mentors that come back and kind of help other players grow, because we definitely have the pace with some great players. Now it's just the brains I think we need in kind of key positions, we seem to have it up front. It would be great to have something like that at the back to help those players develop a lot further. But again, whatever happens, I'll still be there at 3 a.m. with the TV on. But it's very positive sign. So it's quite good to see.
Yeah, amazing.
Definitely.
All right, well, we're kind of getting towards the end of our video, but Daniel, quick question about next season. So we're just making some predictions here before the season starts. Where do you see us finishing? Give us a prediction on the table.
Wow. Okay. Look, I'd say my ambition, I'd say it's more of an ambition to see us in the top 4. But the quality of the Serie A in the last season, this season alone, has really jumped up to another level with clubs like Atalanta, Lazio, and that other little team that plays in our stadium. I forgot their name already. So this is what I mean. It's very tough. So, but yeah, I think with the way we're playing, and obviously being the Scudetto coronavirus champions, I think it's great to see that we could potentially go for a top 4 position. And I would say 3rd or 4th if we played the way we have been. There's no reason why we couldn't get into that position.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's decent.
I'd love to say the Scudetto, but I'm a realist. That'll be a dream come true, but obviously we know what happens.
Yeah.
What's been happening in the past.
I guess just one step at a time, and
That's right.
I know I'll take Champions League football or a Champions League football spot next year. But just to wrap things up, thank you for joining us on this video. You guys in Sydney, as I said before, are definitely the pioneers of what we're trying to do in Australia. So thank you guys for doing that. And also shout out just to Arc Studios Architecture, which you're also from. So yeah, thank you again, Daniel. It's been really good to have you on, and hopefully next time we'll be able to do something in person and do this physically.
That'll be great. Thank you so much, guys. It's been really fun. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate. Forza Milan.